All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and today I want to do a quick look at one of the potential Republican candidates I discussed for 2024 and their chance against Biden. And we're going to start with Ron DeSantis. And we're going to do quite a few of these with some other candidates that I find particularly interesting from my perspective. And the reason I'm starting with DeSantis is because, well, he's basically gotten a ton of free media. Just for reference, for Maine and Nebraska, I'm not going to be doing the electoral college vote split because we don't know exactly how those districts will be drawn. And remember, this is based off of my confidence in the call. And, we're going to go ahead and add There we go. We're going to do classic colors. We'll do yellow. Did that work? No, of course not. That didn't help. You know what? I would just delete this. No, that didn't work either. Fantastic. Okay, well, those are all the safe GOP states. I really messed this up. Okay, and we're going to do the safe Democratic states. There's no real point in talking about that. We'll talk a little bit about Illinois. No, we won't. Okay, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, District, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont. Right, and I'm actually very confident that Virginia is, for the time being, pretty much gone. So let's start with states that are pretty likely to fall in the category. Actually, I'm pretty confident about Colorado too. Um, I'm pretty confident about Alaska. I am still very confident about Texas. Not quite. I'm not going to entertain the idea that Texas would go blue. It's just I think the Republicans there are going to get the right message that they need to do what they can to get turnout in the Rio Grande Valley up as much as possible, as well as try to fight back and take the suburbs. And I think that Trump was just a poor fit for the state. I think DeSantis is a much different story. In the event that DeSantis runs, I am very confident about Florida. It's obviously a perpetual swing state, so grain of salt. But yeah, I think that the home state advantage makes it nearly assured. Very confident about Iowa and Ohio, almost to the point where I'd consider them safe, but, you know. As for states that I would consider likely for the Democrats, I'm pretty confident in New Mexico and pretty confident about Minnesota. Actually reasonably confident about Nevada, just not because of the margin it'll be, but because of how inelastic Nevada seems. Now for states that would lean. I'm going to put New Hampshire in that. I can see a few scenarios where it would go red. Same with Maine, but more because I think at least one of the votes would split. I don't know how Nebraska is going to redistrict, so I don't know whether or not the second is actually going to remain competitive. Because of the way Maine's redistricting works, I'm pretty sure that one district should remain competitive. Um, I'm also going to lean Michigan just because I tend to err on the side of the incumbent. And I was going to have battleground states or dead even states, but it doesn't allow me to actually show what the total vote is. But doesn't really matter, I guess. So the 4 states remaining are all very competitive states. North Carolina is kind of the Republican Florida, or not Republican Florida, but the Republican version of Nevada. It's not a very elastic state. Yes, it was very narrow in 2020, but it was also pretty narrow in 2016, and famously, Obama only just won it in 2008. So, I think that the Republicans will still do pretty strong there, enough to win in most circumstances. I'm also going to lean Wisconsin towards the GOP just because I think the driftless area is getting much more red, and it's moving towards the Republicans a lot faster than, say, the Milwaukee area is moving towards the Democrats, and particularly with the suburbs in Kenosha and just to the west of Milwaukee. There's also, of course, just the fact that the other areas where the Democrats used to do very, very well are just moving towards the Republicans faster and faster. Arizona is going to be forever a battleground state, or at least is going to be reasonably competitive. I think DeSantis is just a little bit more typical of what a Republican is viewed to be, and I think that'll help him in Arizona recapture Maricopa County. And I'm going to tilt the state in his direction, but that is a very, very tenuous call. I really could see it staying blue. But the state is still more Republican-leaning than the nation as a whole. And I think in a more competitive election, I think whoever the Republican nominee is carries it. And I'm almost certain that the next election, 2024, is going to be more favorable to, not necessarily more favorable towards the Republicans, but it's going to be a more competitive election in terms of the national popular vote. And I think that carries over to Georgia as well, especially considering the new voting laws that they've put out and the fact that I don't see those being overturned by the High Court. And I really just don't see those laws not going into effect by the time of the presidential election. So I think that at the end of the day, it's a very narrow call, but I don't think the Atlanta area is getting that blue that quickly. And DeSantis is a more presentable candidate than Trump, especially in the South. As for Pennsylvania, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he'd do well enough in the collar counties to be able to make up the Philadelphia and Allegheny County margins. Possible, but I just don't think he'd do well enough in the collar counties like Bucks. So I don't think he would. I'm pretty sure this is a GOP win, if ever so narrowly, because states that, Republicans only would lose in that. Previously, I think this was the 269 map. Republicans would net a loss of 2 here, but gain 1, 2, 3, 4 electoral votes. Yeah, I think this would be a GOP victory, but only just. So I will say that absolutely could Biden repeat and win Georgia and Arizona again? Could he flip North Carolina and hold on to Wisconsin? Yeah, absolutely. That's not a question. But let's also remember that DeSantis could flip Pennsylvania. Maybe replicate and win Michigan. Or maybe he'd track more moderate and be able to maybe flip Nevada, pick up New Hampshire. Who knows? This is still a long ways out. And we don't even know if DeSantis is going to be the nominee, and we don't know exactly what track he's going to take in the primaries. So there's a lot up in the air. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoy. I'll see y'all next time. I hope y'all have a very nice day. Likes, comments, and subscriptions, they always do help, and I greatly appreciate them. I'd love to see if we can reach 1,000 by the end of the year. 900 by Independence Day would be pretty darn cool for me. And of course, liking and commenting, they help the algorithm not hate me. So take it easy, y'all. Have a very lovely evening. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.